Dillon, if you would. At some fucking point today would be great. Or I can just go fuck myself, either way. Am I fucking myself?
Boys! We are rolling.
Welcome back to the Millennial Slug Podcast, millennialslugpodcast.com. You gotta practice that. That's hard.
It's rough, dude.
Shout out to the Bump Yard. Shout out to Foreman Creative. Shout out to Dylan's mom's vagina.
Don't forget Blue Chew, because we want them to sponsor.
Shout out Blue Chew. I want you to sponsor me / us. Mostly me.
Dude.
I'm trying to host a podcast right now.
Oh, excuse me. Forgot. You also have to interrupt me 700 times today.
If it hasn't become obvious, I am Jay Lee Campbell of the Millennial Slug Podcast. Here with my co-host / engineer, Dillon Foreman.
I didn't know what else to do. I freaked out.
Just
I panicked. I was like... For the listeners, as you can see, we're recording this on Halloween, so we decided to dress up as each other. And I think we did a great fucking job.
Honestly, this is great. I'm going to pop the picture up on the screen right now. Look at us. Look at us.
We look pretty fucking phenomenal, dude. Oh, God. So... how was Chicago?
Like an over-enthusiastic pastor or something.
Yeah, you do. That's exactly what you look like. It's fantastic, dude. So, how was Chicago?
Chicago was dope. I can see how living in Chicago would be a pain in the ass. It would be a lot. But just being in Chicago for like 3 days... pretty dope.
You know how I feel about Chicago.
I know how you feel about Chicago.
And I feel like you've spent enough time there that you get it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely... It really... I was there long enough to realize it depends where in Chicago you go.
Oh, yeah.
Because Chicago is like 7 different cities in one.
Pretty much.
But my favorite part of Chicago is... that I parked my car in the parking lot near our hotel and then didn't touch it for 3 days because we found out using like the metro and buses and all that, it's all on like one public transit ticket and it's $5 for a 24-hour pass. So for $5 a day as a tourist in Chicago, you can go anywhere in Chicago off of that pass all day.
That's pretty solid.
That's dope. Because driving, I remember looking up the maps directions to one of the places, because we were in like Chinatown, which is near downtown, almost on the south side, but pretty much. We were going up to the north side to check shit out, which the north side of Chicago is where all the rich people live, and it's fucking beautiful up there. It would have taken us an hour and a half to drive. Are you studying right now?
Yeah.
It would have taken us an hour and a half to drive where we were going, but on the metro.
Dude, you instantly just had so much more swag. Dude, if that's what you look at me as, thank God.
Metro.
You immediately were just like, hold on, let me get real cool for a second. So
this is how you podcast. And so, okay, this is something like, because it doesn't matter because as an engineer, I can deal with this problem. But one of the problems I have to deal with when I'm mixing episodes is you have such a dynamic voice volume wise, because you'll go from talking to somebody like this and in the same sentence end up talking like this and you get like real, like, dude, the dynamics in your volume is fucking insane.
My
it's all
voice
over
is
the place.
unpredictable as I am. Yeah.
So,
I don't even know what it's going to sound like when it comes out of my mouth. Honestly, I just say stuff and it comes out at a volume and that's where we are. Which is crazy because I'm mostly monotone. You know what I mean? Like there's a little bit of just the up and down in it, but for the most part, it's just right here all the time. So it just goes, you know what I mean? It's fucking annoying. And you know that because you have to edit it.
Which is fine. I know how to do it.
But anyway, you were saying Chicago.
What was I talking about?
Talking about Chicago. You said you were talking about the $5.
Oh, that's right. I didn't actually forget. I just was in character.
That's a great fucking excuse right there, bro. That's like Charlie Clips' Psych I Lied in battles, bro, where he chokes and just goes, Psych I Lied. Like, no, you didn't. Like, you just choked, bro. That's fucking genius.
No, that was my favorite part. Going to the beaches in Chicago is really cool.
Hold that thought. Sorry. For the listeners, I know that this may not be as fun for you as it is for us, and I don't give a shit. This is the most fun I've ever had on a podcast
awesome.
ever, and we've been here for like an hour and a half, but we're 2 minutes in. Sorry, I'm done interrupting you now, probably.
You can get into character. I don't know if you can get that into character.
That's a fair point. I can't get into character so far that I just undo my mental illnesses. So.
Speaking of which, I'm probably autistic.
Probably.
I got to throw at least...
Stop saying probably.
Listen, until I'm diagnosed...
Just stop saying
officially, probably. I have shit on way too many people.
Dude! Stop saying probably.
This is so fun.
I just hope that there's like 1 to 5 super fans of Millsuck somewhere, and they're just digging the shit out of this. And then the other 200 people that see this are just like, what are these fucking idiots doing?
Yeah.
It's Halloween, baby. I didn't even bring alcohol. That's how fucking lame I am.
Oh. I mean, we still have the bucket.
Do we still have the bucket?
Yeah.
What's in it? I'll drink shitty ass beer.
Limes.
Fuck it. Run it. We have any cups? I'll get them.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm gonna set the scene.
I gotta do the Dillon thing, which is I have to like run like a Labrador Retriever whenever anyone needs anything.
I'm sorry for being a good host.
Oh shit. Whole chest, dude.
That was fun.
Oh my god. So Ashley P-Rod's mom is hella Trumper, right?
Yep.
And she posted a picture.
You didn't grab beer, did you?
I did not.
Go ahead.
I thought the bucket was next to you, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Continue.
But I thought that, anyway, so she posted a picture of her turtle in her yard, but it was in front of a Trump sign. And it was like, I don't remember the name of the turtle, so we're going to say Tina. She said, Tina the turtle knows who she's voting for. So I just commented on it and I was like, that's voter fraud. Honest to God, though, from her perspective, not in reality, but from her perspective, she had a great comeback, which was, she's just as right, just as much of a right to vote as half the other people that do. And I was like, okay, you're wrong, but if you weren't, that'd be great.
Would you prefer a lime or a racist battering tea?
Ooh. Tea me. I've actually never had one of these.
It's going to be wet and drippy.
Want to split one?
They are pretty good.
If you'd have just dropped that just now, that'd have been such a character moment.
Look, the golf ball's not in my wrist anymore, but my grip is still not great.
It just learned how to suck. Cheers. Happy Halloween, baby.
Happy Hallows Eve or whatever the fuck. I guess is
not bad.
No, it's pretty good. Is All
Hallows
Hallows
Eve is
the night before?
Halloween,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Devil's Night, if you will.
Yeah. I remember liking that more as a kid.
Dude, scientifically speaking, so the universe has, and then so science, and then wormholes, and then.
I'm glad you said all that because I'm a fucking idiot.
Hey, man, don't call my friend an idiot, dude. What the fuck, man? Get super defensive every time you do something like that. Just, hey man, that's my friend you're talking about.
Listen, man, your friend is my enemy, and because my enemy is me.
The enemy is the inner me. So Google Nick Miller Tran first meeting, because this is a new girl thing that is the most me shit based on what you just said.
Google?
YouTube. Sorry. Nick Miller Tran first meeting.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Dude, you fucked it up too. Proud of you. Doing real good, buddy. Oh, I get to say figured wrong?
I fixed that for the most part.
For the half part. Still about a 42% figured rating. Yes. There's a moment where he's talking about his anger, and he's just like, the enemy is the inner me.
Please don't do that, sir. Please, I would love to sip on myself, man.
This is literally me as a character.
Creepy about you, pal. You want to get weird? Let's get weird.
If I was a sitcom character, this is just me, by the way.
You got a nice face. No problem? Living with them? Are you kidding me? What's frustrating? It's like, just get a job. I like your hat. I like how it's not a team or a logo, it's just blue. Would you rather be covered in fish scales or feathers? Scales? Why, you weirdo? You want to see me jump really high? Afraid of dying. Who am I? The enemy is enemy. The enemy is the inner me. You understand a word I'm saying?
That's his best friend. He loves this dude. The dude never says a word the entire show, and he loves him.
I have an anger problem. Thank you.
I really just wanted to show you that based off the strength of the enemy line that you said.
What is your name? I can't keep thinking of you as my magic.
Guesses his name.
No name. Joe. Tommy. Lewis. Tran. Is it Tran?
Just guesses Tran is an Asian man.
Beautiful man. Fits you perfectly. My roommates are killing me. You're right. Okay, I like them, all right? I hate myself. Is that what you want me to say? Why do you always have to make everything so simple? How do you just get it? How do I become you? Show me the way, man. I'll do anything.
I fucking love New Girl.
Dude, it's the greatest show ever written, dude. Oh, wait. No, but literally, like, whatever, dude.
Literally, I just whatever, dude.
Dude, I'm pissed at you. Non-character. Twice over. Same incident. Twice as pissed.
What?
First and foremost, for the listeners. What kind of bestie gets engaged without telling his best friend he's getting engaged? And secondly, what kind of bestie gets engaged even though his relationship has only been a year less than his bestie's, so that his bestie's girlfriend can now wonder when the fuck his bestie is gonna ask her to marry him? Because we had that conversation the other day, you son of a bitch.
My bad, dog.
Hey, dog, it's my bad. But no, that really is a conversationalist and I had the other day. We're on our way. Where were we? Oh, we were going over to our friend Matt and Sarah's because I had to I had to help them get an AC unit out of their window. And Alyssa was like talking about engagement. I was like, I feel like because Foreman and Nicole got engaged and they haven't known each other for as long as you and I have known each other, that you're wondering when I'm going to ask you to marry me. She goes, yeah, because that's what I really want. She did just whole face, whole chest, was not shy about it. So thanks. Speaking of which, congratulations, baby boy.
Thanks, man.
Nicole's a great girl. You're a great guy.
She's the best.
I gotta say, this is the best you've ever looked.
I think I'm gonna have to get one of these.
Dude, it's a good look, dude.
What are these called again?
That is a very fake Cuban.
Cuban.
Yeah. A real Cuban, if you would, get on Google and look up GLD Cuban link. And yeah, this is a website that sells jewelry that I'm just kind of shouting out. So the one that I would want is kind of more like this fourth one here, that one right there. Like I would like they have them where they're kind of like none of them really show it. If this one was just like a little bit more like closer to the neck and looked exactly like that one, that's the one I want. But I can't afford those, so I bought that one, which cost me $16 at TJ Maxx.
Nice. Bro, deals though.
Yeah. Deals as fuck. But nah, I want a real fucking thick-ass Cuban so bad. If I was a millionaire, I'd get matching Cubans for me and my dog. That's not a joke.
I mean, you almost have it.
We
now.
already have matching fake Cubans. We may as well have matching real ones.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, seriously, I am very happy for you. What prompted you to ask when you did?
So, couple things. On the more like emotional side of things, you know, when people will say like real stereotypical shit, like when it's the right person, you just know. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, people will ask all the time, like, how do I know I'm with the right person? Or how do I know this is like my soulmate or whatever the fuck that means? And like people would be like, you just kind of know. There's a like an ambient energy and like comfortability there that's real nice. And dude, I've just never been in this state of like, oh, I know what those people mean. Like, I just know. And I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, you know, me and her, our anniversary is in October. And I was like, that's both of our favorite like time of the year. So I'm going to do it during that time of the year regardless. So I'm like, I can either do it now or wait an entire another year to do it. But just so happens for this particular event, we were going to not only celebrate our anniversary, but see her favorite band of all time, that's
Lorna Shore, correct?
Lorna Shore, who were playing her favorite album of all time from start to finish, which is always dope when bands do that.
Dude, A Day to Remember when we were Young Fest in Vegas, played Homesick front to back.
Yeah.
Bro, I've seen them 16 times. They've never done that once.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a special kind of show for sure. And it's their first headlining tour, which was really cool. The place that we saw them at's called Radius up in Chicago. That venue is fucking awesome. It's just a giant warehouse they turned into a venue. Huge. They sold it out, 3,700 tickets sold. Like, huge crowd, huge venue, amazing sound system, just an all-over great show. And with Lorna Shore being Nicole's, like, this band saved my life band, it's like, it's just super important to her, like, on an emotional level, to see them, especially at a time like that in their careers.
Who's your This Band Saved My Life band? Is it fucking Seether? Look, he looks like the dude from Seether.
Not right now, I don't.
No, right now I look like the dude from Seether. Who's to know if your soul will fade at all? Yeah, that's going to be a thing. I didn't think about that until right now, but that's going to be a thing for sure. I'm just going to randomly break out into Seether lyrics for the rest of the night. But anyway, sorry.
No, I mean, that was it. I wanted to... I was like, there's no better... In terms of, like, just the timing, all of the surrounding event with it being like our anniversary vacation.
So you knew when you left you were going to do it?
Yes.
Okay, so you could have told me.
But
because you said we were drunk. It was spur of the moment.
That's not what I said.
Well, no, you said we were drunk. That's all you said. When you know, you know. And then you said if it didn't work out, you were going to be gay with Myth. It's leaking the group chat right now. My bad, dog. Shit. Edit that out. Don't let the girls know we talk about gay stuff.
Yeah, if things don't work out with Nicole, I'm going to get a nice little, like a cute little house with Myth. And
speaking of which, he likes our idea of having him and Moxley on and wants to do that.
Yeah.
So when we figure
honestly, dude,
per the conversation we had earlier, when we figure out how we're going to work around that, because we're booked all through November, we'll probably set that up. But
Yeah, I feel like
we
Myth
gotta
would
figure out
be
where
down
Raph is.
for anything we want to include him in.
Myth is just down to kick it. Myth is one of the best people I've ever met.
He really is.
We went to that party with him on Saturday, which, by the way, I don't know. It's funny. You know how they call me phobic, right? Dante and I had that whole conversation about gender fluidity and everything on our OnlyFans content, onlyfans.com/MS plus for some dollars a month. And he told me that per that conversation, he realized he was gender fluid.
Like during that conversation?
Like because of that conversation. And I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this, nor do I feel like I was supposed to just say that. So maybe we should edit that out. I don't fucking know. But he said it in front of a party full of people. So if I said something I wasn't supposed to, I'm sorry. But I was just like, you know what, dude? That's cool as fuck.
That is cool.
I'm glad that like I don't take any credit, obviously, neither nor should we in any way for like them coming to that realization. But it's nice to have created a space where someone could talk that thing out so that they can figure out their own identity.
It's like
shout out to Dante. I'm not going to say his artist name right now because I don't know if I was supposed to say what I just said.
Right. But it's like, you know, try to call somebody phobic.
I'm just out here creating safe spaces, phobic as fuck.
Yeah. Like, fuck you talking about?
Nah. You know what? I'll just be vulnerable for a second. That shit used to really bother me when I would get labeled as like a bigot in any way. Like when somebody would say I was a racist or when somebody would say I was, you know, phobic or whatever. It's like, dude, like, nah. Like my whole thing is having a good time. That's it. That's always been my entire personality, at least socially. You know what I mean? So like I've always tried to do my best, and I'm ignorant to a lot of things. I'm also probably autistic. So like I don't get a lot of things and I recognize that, and I have no problem being corrected in a respectful way. You know what I mean? But like I spent so much time just trying to create like inclusive situations socially and by people that like I thought I was friends with it for a period of time. You know what I mean? Calling you phobic and all these other things. It's like, dog, like, first of all, there was that one issue that I brought you into, if you recall, with this person, where like, first and foremost, you're not even remembering the situation correctly. Has that needed to be on this whole time?
Yep.
That's fucking hilarious.
I mean, it's not going to make that big of a difference.
It's not, but it's fucking hilarious that we didn't turn it on. We also didn't turn the one under your phone on.
We don't turn that one on.
We don't ever turn that one on?
Just to hold my phone.
Copy. But no, so like first of all, you changed what actually happened in order to facilitate your argument. And then, despite the fact that you know for a fact that I've spent all this time you've known me just trying to understand your predicament so that I can be more sympathetic, you know what I mean? And to turn that around and try to use that against me and call me phobic for it, like, is so fucking wild. When at the end of the day, I don't care how anyone identifies. Like I think everyone deserves the correct amount, the appropriate dignity and just freedom to be themselves. You know what I mean? As long as they're not harming anyone, who gives a fuck? So it's like, knowing that that's just how I approach social situations and to try and twist things to fit your agenda because you need to feel like a victim in a moment is just super fucked, which is why I understand why Moxley gets so upset. Yeah. I really do. I think that's one of the reasons why like I'm always just like, yeah, you shouldn't have posted that or you shouldn't have made that joke or whatever, but at the same time, like, you're not a hateful person. No. And it sucks that people keep calling you that. Just because you have a different type of person, like sense of humor in his case than others. You know what I mean? It's just really fucking annoying.
When the bar has been set so insanely high for not being a bigot in so many circles, like, again, like, the majority of people are in, like, a sensible middle ground on most things. But we've talked about this before. The loudest people have... It's like... There's not a list of things that you do that indicates that you're a bigot. There's a list of things that you have to do, otherwise you're a bigot. And when you get to that point, it's just like the bar to not be a bigot of some sort is so fucking high that you have to essentially abandon your entire personality and take on this one that's prescribed to...
Otherwise, you're not an ally.
Yeah. And it's like, if you go talk to the people who you're being an ally to, they don't agree with a lot of that shit.
And for the sake of fairness, like, I understand the excessive defensiveness when it comes to trans people. Like, they've been getting shit on nonstop for at least the last decade. You know what I mean? Just getting shit on over since 2016, bro. It's been nothing but fuck trans people. And that's crazy. And they deserve so much better than that. I agree. But it's like, at the same time, like, you have to understand that, like, just like we're talking about the obnoxious blame everything on anything that's not trans and victimize ourselves and vilify everyone else type of people is a very small minority of the trans community. We accept that. Yeah. You also have to accept that the people that hate you are also a minority. Most people don't care.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like, that's the truth.
Or in the specific case of you and Moxley, as a perfect example, it's like, everybody that you guys are friends with, you fuck with and shit on. And like, that's part of your being friends with you guys. That's part of your guys' humor, is that, like, honestly, it's part of what I love about hanging out with you guys, because it's chaotic and fucking hilarious. Sometimes, if you've got thick enough skin to be able to realize jokes are jokes.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you weren't making jokes about a trans person, that would indicate that you do not like that trans person.
Right. And exactly what that would mean in that situation, if I'm cool with a trans person and I'm not making jokes about it, what that means is that I don't want to bring your identity into the fact that I don't like you. I've literally had this issue with somebody who's trans recently, and another person who's gender neutral, I think. But like, the whole reason why I will avoid those situations with people I don't fuck with is because if I don't fuck with you, it's because of who you are. And I refuse to bring your sexual identity into it. I won't do it. Your gender identity has nothing to do with why I don't like you, and it never will. It'll also never be the reason I like you. You know what I mean? If the reason, if one facet of anyone's personality will never be the reason I like or dislike a person, it's a collective of different things, right? I give everybody a chance, but it's like, you're correct about that. The reason why I would never shit on somebody for being trans I didn't like, and right, and even with my like trans and non-binary friends and stuff like that, I don't go super hard on their trans stuff. I make fun of them for who they are, not what they identify as. You know what I mean? You see it all the time. My jokes with you are always super specific because I know you so well. And that's how I am with everybody around me. If I was pissed off at somebody or I didn't like somebody, I would avoid their fucking sexual identity entirely, simply because I don't want you to think that the reason why I fucking hate you is for an ill reason. No. I have a reason. It's a good reason, or it's good enough for me. And it has nothing to do with your identity. And I don't want your identity being a factor. It's just how it is. And it's like, at the end of the day, if you don't want to, if you're not with that, that's cool. I have friends that I don't feel comfortable coming at in that the way I do other friends, because they're too sweet, or they don't have that type of personality, or whatever it is. Taylor is one of them. I can't be mean to Taylor. I can't, because I feel bad about it, because she's such a sweet person and she's never super mean. So like, even when she tries to be mean, it's like little cutesy mean things. Yeah. And I can't like bring myself to be like, you know what? You know what I mean? Because like, it feels like bullying, and I don't want to be a bully. You know what I mean? I really only talk shit to people who I know can talk shit back. You know what I mean? I don't just pick on people. But anyway, I needed to rant about that for a second.
Oh, by all means.
So Chicago is cool.
Bro, you talking with this hand looks really cool with the tattoos and the rings. Just saying, it's a good look.
I bet it is, dude. I bet it is. And I gotta like insinuate like random letters and sentences. So I'd be like, this, but like I'm talking normal, but like in the middle of those sentences, I gotta remember to emphasize random words. Because you do that. You'd be like, the thing with this is, but this, you know what I mean? Also, I cannot wait to slip a figured in there. Oh my God. I know what it's going to sound like coming from this face, but it's not. It's going to be an F. Oh. I was going to ask you, how was the Lorna? How long ago did you buy the ring?
That was in the end of July. Bro, I kept this secret from everybody.
tell your mother?
No.
Oh.
I didn't tell anybody. My mom bitched at me too.
All right, when this is
I
over,
came
I'm
home
going to go
from-
talk to your mom. We're going to
when I
lament about the
came
fact that
home-
you're a piece of shit.
From Chicago, she was like, well, that was a way to find that out. I didn't tell Dimitri. I didn't tell anyone because I didn't want there to be any hint that this was going to happen, which was successful because it's such an obvious thing, right? Like knowing, like Nicole knows that I know who her favorite band is, that we're going on our 1-year anniversary vacation together, all of this other shit. And she knows I've already expressed to her that I would marry her tomorrow, and I am 1,000% confident would never regret it. All of that being said, even she, after it happened, was like, how did I not know? It's so obvious. How did I not know it was going to happen? It is because I put so much effort into making sure nobody knew it was going to happen so that there was no energy shift, so that nobody would have to feel like they were keeping something from her when she was around. That way it was bulletproof. There's no way she's going to know.
This is a hell of a way to find out that you look at me as a security risk.
I don't see you as a security risk. Like I said, I didn't tell anybody at all. Because I didn't want people to act different at all.
I wouldn't have acted
I know
different.
you wouldn't have.
I would've
But
been
I
fine.
might have.
Oh, that's right. Because you'd have been worried about me acting
Yeah.
different. You'd have been on edge. You were worried about you. See, I keep making things about me when really you're the problem. Oh, no! Our
You've exposed your beautiful long locks.
You know,
You know what pisses me off? People who can grow full heads of hair and shave that shit.
I want to hear,
Bro,
actually.
you and DJ went on a fucking rant about that.
Bro, he said, I got to go to Turkey to get my hair. Dude, bald people problems. He fucking gets it. Shout out to Banks. I love when we do the Just Us
So I was
episodes.
thinking, I had to interrupt you at least.
That's fair.
once.
That's fair. What were you thinking? No, finish it. Hey, finish it.
I was thinking like 14. Hey, bro. Hey, bro. Hey, bro. Hey, bro. I was thinking 14 different thoughts. Autism, probably. Leave me the fuck alone. Anyway, back to being a podcast host.
One of us has to be. It's your fucking job, dude. I set up all of this. I push the buttons. I record everything. You could at least talk on the microphone.
Bitch. Grr.
I've done that to Alyssa before.
You did that on our podcast.
Who did I do that to?
I can't remember. It was me.
Oh, obviously. It was
I
you.
want to say it was during one of our exchange. I can't remember, but you're just like, bitch, grr.
Oh, so I went to the museum. I went to the James Webb Telescope IMAX. That was sick as fuck.
Hell yeah, dude.
Basically, I learned a whole lot of shit that I already knew, and then saw some images I hadn't seen before, and then that was it. But it was cool as fuck
That's
to watch.
awesome.
Like, do you realize how long they worked on that bitch?
The James Webb?
Yeah, 30 years.
It was supposed to go up.
30 years.
It got pushed back so many times.
You know how much money they spent on it?
Wasn't it like $2 trillion by the end of it?
It
or
was
something?
close to it, yeah. I actually think it was like 1.4 trillion or something like
Yeah.
that. Do you know what the biggest problems they were having were? Keeping the fucking satellite cool enough to
Yeah.
absorb that much sunlight.
Yeah, because it.
They basically put a big popcorn fucking foil
yeah,
over it.
Several layers of it too.
Yes.
And that was the
It's
problem.
basically like, you know what we should do? Space blankets.
because it's
Like
like when
space, these are blankets, let's do it.
you're trying to put up a satellite that can see heat while ignoring the giant furnace immediately behind it. Fucking hard to do.
Dude, it was cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Unless there was some images they showed that I hadn't seen yet, because I've seen so many James Webbs at this point.
Yeah.
But it's super cool that it started out as a way to find wormholes, basically, and now it's just converted itself into, oh no, we can find life with this bitch.
Yeah.
And now we're just scanning galaxies for planets that could sustain life.
Yeah. I think we're scanning our own galaxy for. I don't think we can see planets in other galaxies. We can see planets around other stars.
That's what I meant.
For sure.
Yeah. We're looking inside of our own galaxy, but
as soon as we have the ability to see planets in other galaxies,
the craziest thing about the
finding
James Webb, right? The dude said there's typically between 12. You know what a 0-point failure is, right? So in any engineering endeavor, right, a 0-point failure means if it goes wrong here, the entire project is fucked.
Yeah.
On most of them, they'll have between 12 and 14 0-point failures in the entire process. How many do you think there were for the James Webb Telescope?
Probably 100.
308 or some shit like that. I think they said it was over 300.
It is an origami satellite. So getting it to
literally
unfold,
had to be unfolded in space. That's fucking crazy.
And it was one of those things I remember, like, it was a very edge of your seat moment for space nerds, because it's like, if something goes wrong with this, we can't send, like, the Hubble Space Telescope fucked up when they launched it. They sent astronauts up to fix that before Hubble could do the things that it did. You can't do that with the James Webb.
It's so funny you bring up the Hubble, because again, I understand that they were just trying to set a reference for the leap in technology that exists between the Hubble and the James Webb. But for like 5 to 7 straight minutes, all they did was compare and contrast the Hubble versus the James Webb. And it looked like they were just like, yeah, these fucking cucks, they take a picture, it looks like this, we take a picture, it looks like fucking this, dude. And it was basically what it felt like.
Yeah.
Like the engineers were like, oh no, you built the Hubble? That's cool, we built the James Webb. So go fuck yourself. And it's just like, it's the greatest piece of technology in the history of humankind. We built it. So did like 200 other dead people. We did it. Fuck you. Suck it, Hubble telescope. That's how it felt for like 10 straight minutes. It was fucking great, dude. Oh, but no, the James Webb's fire.
It is. It's awesome.
Also, dinosaurs aren't real. Oh, that's not true. Agnosticism isn't real.
Not in the way that people say it is.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yes.
I've been wanting to ask you that for so long, and now is the time.
I've been waiting for you to bring it back up. Define agnosticism as you understand it.
I can't. Okay, so I look at it as less of a specific designation and more of like a blanket statement that can mean a bunch of different things. Like, to me, like, agnosticism means unable to confirm whether or not you believe in something. So like, you would be like, you can't say either for or against something because of this situation. Like, but I also think that meaning can be stretched. Like, for example, what agnosticism means to me, right? I say that I'm anti-theistic and agnostic because I hate the societal role that ritualistic religion plays in our society. So that's where the anti-theism comes from. And then I say that, not that I hate or don't like people that are religious. I have several religious fans. Shout out to Kamal. Joker Smoke Shop. I think it's called I Am Days now. Doesn't matter. Bestie. But like, to me, I say that I'm agnostic because I go where the evidence leads me, right? Whereas the evidence that I have been presented with, the physical, real, actual evidence leads me to think that there is no divinity. There is no such thing as this God character we've created or anything like that. Now, that being said, if tomorrow some fucking church comes out with real science evidence that points the other direction equally, then I'm going to say, okay, well, then that is where the evidence leads. So that makes sense. So it's not about faith at all with me. It's just, where does the evidence point? And that's why I say I'm agnostic, because what other way to describe, whatever term can you use to describe that?
Okay. So while I do agree that the word agnostic has been stretched, and that's what people typically mean by it, that's not what agnostic means as a term. And in that way, it does not exist the way you just described it. What agnostic... So...
I'm going to need more drink for this. We have any more of the racist smashers?
No racist smashers.
I'll take a limey bitch. Sounds like I'm being shitty towards fucking British, but I'm not.
So, if we look at the terms theist and Gnostic, then we have atheist and agnostic. Okay? So this is just to kind of point out the difference between these two things. The difference between theist and atheist is whether you believe in God or don't believe in a God. Gnostic and agnostic is
agnostic. It's like eggnog stick, bro. The holidays.
eggnog sticks.
Eggnog sticks, dude. Burger King this winter with the fucking holiday special of eggnog sticks. We're so fucking dumb.
Gnostic and agnostic is a spectrum of knowledge. So you can be Gnostic about anything that you know as a matter of fact. You are agnostic about something that you don't know. So
to say
if
that
somebody
you're
says,
sorry.
If somebody says, Jason said he'll be on his way to the podcast at 5:30. It's now 5:32. And at 5:32, I am agnostic about whether or not you are currently on your way here. As soon as I get a text message of you saying I'm on my way, I am now Gnostic about you being on your way here. Knowledge has a spectrum that you can be, there are degrees of knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
Belief is one of the few things in life that are truly dichotomous. You can't halfway believe something. You don't believe, you are either convinced or you are unconvinced. There isn't a middle ground. The middle ground comes from the knowledge aspect. So when people say they're agnostic, what they're saying typically is, I'm not sure whether I believe in a God or not, which is basically them saying, I'm not convinced, which means they are an atheist by definition. But instead of using the baggage of the term atheist, they use this new stretched version of agnosticism to signal to other people that I'm humble enough to be like, I'm not convinced of a God or the lack of a God 100%. And as far as my knowledge goes, but because I'm not convinced for sure that a God exists, I'm just not going to get into the argument about it. And this is the lazy way out of being like, hey, I don't want to have a debate with you right now about God. So I'm just going to be like, hey, I'm an agnostic.
So
I'm
you think
open.
it's the coward's way out of the conversation?
Not coward's way out. It's
like the suicide of the religion conversation.
It's for people who want to signal that they're open-minded and intelligent and think about these things, but also signal that they're humble enough to not be absolutist on either side. Agnosticism as a belief doesn't exist. Agnostic points to your knowledge of a situation.
Okay. So then, in the sense,
if you say I'm agnostic about God, what you're saying is I don't know. I'm not for sure.
That's exactly
that there is
what
a God.
I'm saying about God.
And on the belief spectrum, which isn't a spectrum, it's a dichotomy, you're saying I am not convinced of a God, which is the entire atheist side of that dichotomy.
But I feel like true agnosticism has to exist, though, because again, I know, like, I don't know to the severity in which you're explaining it. Like, I know that there's a difference between belief and knowledge. And I know that it's very rare that anyone in my dumbass position ever actually knows a fucking thing. So for that reason, I can say all day long, I know there's not a God. I know there's no angels. I know the devil's made up. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because in my heart, I feel like I know that. But I'm also not so arrogant to think that because of the way that my life has gone, I've seen enough in order to have a big enough opinion on the situation. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. Again, knowledge is a spectrum. Belief,
like autism,
is a dichotomy. See, and I feel like this is where the mistake gets made, is people will say,
So you're saying conceptually the idea of being religiously agnostic is flawed.
Agnostic in belief literally makes no sense.
So it's an oxymoron, basically,
yes.
conceptually.
There is no such thing as believing in an agnostic viewpoint.
Because
either
Gnostic is
believe-
based in logic, yes or no, and belief is based in...
No, belief is yes or no.
And knowledge
convinced
is on a
or
spectrum.
not convinced.
Right.
There are degrees of knowledge. You can know more or less about a particular subject than another person.
Like me, I know nothing about everything.
But if you compare
Or
the
if I'm Dillon
beliefs
Foreman,
of
I
two
know
different
everything
people,
about everything. You want to see me reverse engineer a pneumatic system based on no real prior information? Actually, I figured out what the problem was.
what's that?
Regulators. We were double regulating the air. So when you have a faulty regulator, you're not getting not to sound condescending, its job is to regulate air pressure. When you have a faulty one, you have no idea how much pressure is getting through that line. He took the regulators off, now that line works perfectly fine.
So yeah, it was probably like, but my guess was that it was a safety mechanism put in place
Inside the machine.
Yeah.
But it was technically a functionality. It was, you were correct in that it was a systemic failure, but it was on the regulator, not on the saw, which is what you said it was.
I did not say that.
Yeah, you said that there was
No,
probably,
you
said,
explained to me
you
that
said that there was
you
probably,
can listen
you
back
said-
to the
you
conversation.
said-
I said between the regulator and the saw, there is a thing cutting off the air until the air pressure gets pulled off all the way.
Yes, but you were talking about the regulator on the saw itself. You weren't talking about the one that was coming from the line. And I told you there was one on the line when we talked about it. All I'm saying is you said you figured out the problem. Location was the only thing you were off about, and if you had seen the whole system, I'm not convinced you wouldn't have just, like, all you had to do was look at it and go, it's right there. I'm pretty sure that's what you would have done. I'm not downplaying your intellect, Dillon. I'm talking about how amazing of a feat it was. All I'm saying is you were 0.6% wrong for a second, and you were like, listen here, motherfucker. No, I wasn't wrong. I'm never wrong. I'm Dillon Foreman. I'm the smartest man alive. I listen to college courses for fun.
I thought you were saying he took the regulators out of the machine.
No. He took the regulator off of the line that was going into the machine, and then
Okay.
another one off of a line that was going, like, there was a split in the line where it went off into different directions.
So it's your company's regulators that were causing the problem.
Well, technically my company owns the saw, so they're all my company's regulators. So there was regulators on the, okay, so you've seen an airline that goes through a building, right? And how it has like a nozzle with a regulator on it. That regulator was bad.
Yeah.
The regulator that was on the saw, perfectly fine. So like I said, you were like maybe 1% wrong. Fucking relax, dog. It's okay.
I'm gonna get the credit where I want it.
Yeah, I was trying to give it to you, but then you're like, I'm never wrong. I'm the smartest man.
That's not what
Quantum science.
I love quantum science, dude. Nobody understands it, and that's what's fun.
The man is right now. The man will never fail until it goes back to the remedy. It's a joke I wish that I didn't let die as soon as I did, honestly. Because I was fully committed for like a week, and then I just stopped. I got hair in my mouth. This is a problem you have all the time?
Yep.
That sucks. Bald privilege, I guess. Oh, God. I just love... Dude, that's my favorite reaction from you ever, bro. I tried to tell you were wrong a little bit, and you were like, hold the fuck up, bro. You gonna give me my genius credit. I am smart. I keep checking the time, not because I'm not having a great time, but because this wig is so hot, and I'm like dedicated to keeping it on for the regular content the whole time, and I refuse to take it off. But it is so fucking hot, dude.
How much time do we have?
We are at 51 minutes. So we have about 40 minutes left. Or less, because who gives a shit?
Yeah.
We run this bitch. We can stop right the fuck now. We're not gonna.
But we can.
The sooner we stop, the sooner I have to go home. And
Yeah.
I'm here to party, dude.
Honestly, this beanie's pretty hot too, so.
Here's the suffering for the art. If you can even call this fucking art.
As
Well,
Moxley said, he's aggressive towards the bit.
Here's my question. Do you consider podcasting an art?
Ooh,
It's a good one.
I mean, the word art is so subjective.
It's a very
I
vague
think
statement.
I think
Which
I'd
is
be
why I'm
willing-
asking specifically if you consider podcasting.
I think I would consider it a skill, not an art.
I agree. I think that, okay, so I'm going to sound so pretentious here. I think that art is like being an artist is a state of being. You know what I mean? It's a way you look at the world. And art is a portrayal of an artist's perspective of the world. So I think that you can,
given that definition, somebody could definitely define
this is what I'm
podcasting
saying.
as an
So
art.
now you look at it as like you have these chuds who are in no way artists who just get on like,
What's a chud?
I don't know, dude. It's just a word that
I
I've
like
heard.
it.
It's a derogatory
It
word.
sounded derogatory.
It's a fun one. I don't know what it means, but I like
Fucking
saying it. You want
chuds.
to Google chud definition while I tell you about this?
Yeah.
It's like there's these fucking chuds that will get on podcasts and just talk, and like there's no, like you can tell these people aren't artists. And then there's people like Theo Vaughn, who has a podcast that's equally ridiculous and stupid to those podcasts, but he is an artist, and the way he presents.
Okay, the last one's my favorite. Chud can refer to a number of things, including a historical term, a software tool, and a movie. In historical terms, East Slavic annals, the term chud was used to refer to several Baltic Finnic peoples. Software, Chud Tools is a set of software tools to measure software performance in Mac. And in 1984, the movie Chud, which is an acronym, CHUD, stands for Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers. I think Chud is fantastic in the movie sense of the word.
Yeah, let's also, for a second, just be real quick. I want to apologize to the Estonian people and those of Karelia and northwestern Russia, because I did not realize that I was using a term that describes you fucks derogatory. So, my bad. I'm going to keep saying the word, but pretend it means cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers and not Estonian people. But like, so I guess it kind of just depends on who's doing it. You know what I mean? I think it depends on what the podcast is doing. Like we can get online and we can talk about piloting, or we can talk about plumbing, or like those other fucking podcasts we were talking about earlier. And like, that's not art. You know what I mean? Or we can get on here and we can, you know, try and be funny the way I am and try to like, I'm not funny the way I am, but the way I try and do these things. And is that not an expression of an artist? You know what I mean?
But I feel like
if
you're
comedy's
doing an art using a podcast as the platform for your art at that point.
fair. So at that point, it just
Podcasting
depends
itself
on.
is a platform. Again,
That's
like you
fair.
said, plumbing, pilot podcasts, etc.
Chuds
That's just
talking.
podcasting. Yeah. But if you're doing like a poetry podcast, you're doing art on a podcast. The art is the poetry. If you're doing a comedy podcast, the art is the comedy.
That's fair.
on a
So you're
podcast.
doing art on a podcast. So
Yes.
no, podcast isn't art, but art can be done by podcasters on podcasts.
It's a platform for arts.
I would agree with that definition. I think we came down to it. I think we figured it out. Proud of us.
Platform versus art.
Was failing to think of a. Oh, that's Shine Down. Never mind. I was gonna start,
I mean,
but I mean, you kind of look like that guy too. And I'm staring down the barrel of a 45. You gotta do the
45. Another life.
Someone save me if you will, and take away all these pills. That dude has an incredible voice.
He is very good. Yeah, I lose the fuck yeah factor when it comes to like butt rock bands pretty quick. Like they do write good songs.
Same. I'm into
It
him
just
for an album.
it wears off pretty quickly. But there's no denying that the frontmen in most of those bands are incredible.
Speaking
at
of
what they
butt
do.
rock bands, there is a very real chance that Alyssa and I might go see Disturbed, Daughtry, and Nothing More.
Why the fuck wouldn't you?
First and foremost, like I used to love Disturbed as a kid because who the fuck didn't? They controlled the airways back then. We all fucking loved Disturbed back then. And we look back and make fun of Down with the Sickness for being hard guy cringe now, but when it came out, it had the entire country by the fucking throat.
And that was the introduction for a lot of people to heavy music.
Yeah.
So
like all of us, like Disturbed and Godsmack were like, for a lot of like people in our age bracket, like that was how we got into heavier shit. I'm not gonna say for everyone, but for a large group of people, like hard
like you
rock.
throw Linkin Park into that list. That's how pretty much everybody
Dude,
got. Those were the gates to heavy music.
I'm just saying, and they laid the groundwork for bands like Five Finger Death Punch and Bullet for My Valentine to come on the radio and start screaming.
Yeah,
like we needed Linkin Park for that.
We got to give Slipknot.
Oh, obviously, we
credit for that too,
and Mudvayne.
Yeah,
we're not gonna sleep on Mudvayne's importance into the screaming genres either. At least as far as mainstream airways go.
Yeah,
you know who else was super important for that?
I did remember
Hollywood Undead. Hollywood Undead was also doing mild fry screams in some of their radio singles online. Like these bands are so important to people who are in screaming genres, and everybody shits on them. It's like they shit on the most important bands. I hate Five Finger Death Punch. I think that they're a one-trick pony, and they continue to prove that every chance they get. But at the same time, like I also respect that first album was a very big, like they kicked a door down with that album.
Yeah.
They picked up where fucking Bullet for My Valentine left off and fucking kicked the door down to the point where they had full screaming, like basically like dad rock equivalents of metalcore songs on the radio with their first album. Like Bleeding was basically a metalcore song. You know what I mean? Salvation, which I heard for the first time on the radio, is a metalcore song from beginning to end. It's a melodic metalcore song. And it's like these, like, fuck Five Finger Death Punch, but the band was so fucking important to where we are now, where you have radio stations like the Blitz that'll play Beartooth and Bring Me the Horizon and shit like that. So important.
That was a good rant. I appreciated it.
Yeah, I thought you'd appreciate that. I know how you get excited when I start talking about music history.
Yeah.
I also get very confused by years, anything like pre-90s. Like the 80s, 60s, and 70s are like kind of the same decade to me musically.
Oh, no way.
Like I can't.
No way, dude.
Like I know Motley Crue was the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Def Leppard was late 70s,
and
early 80s. I know that Sabbath was 70s.
60s and 70s.
See, I know that Beatles was 60s. And the fact that we went from Beatles to Sabbath in a decade or less is bonkers, dude. It's crazy. Like legitimately, like there was one rock and roll band and then we went, well, we can make this way heavier. And then America just went, fucking run it, metal.
America didn't do that.
I thought that you said that, oh, they're British.
Europe did that.
That's
Europe
right.
invented metal.
Sabbath is metal and was the first metal band, and they are British. I thought I forgot. I keep forgetting it's not just Ozzy.
Yeah, and Motorhead, who you could
The unofficial original metal band, in my opinion.
Motorhead.
Yeah,
I mean they were post.
I thought they were pre-Sabbath.
It was around the same time, but even Lemmy would say that they're not metal. He considers Motorhead rock and roll, and Motorhead is, if you listen to the songwriting and structures, they are just very, very loud, distorted, aggressive rock and roll music.
That sounds like metal. It sounds like you just described metal, dude. You just took metal and made it 9 extra words.
Again, like I could describe this difference
It's
to you.
fast, it's heavy, it's distorted. It's
but
not
there's
metal.
a difference between rock and roll music.
I understand.
Because if you listen,
The
to
argument could be made though that everything that rock and roll, because you know how subgenres work, it all comes down like a fucking umbrella or like an upside down umbrella. The argument could be made that at the top of that is just rock and roll.
yes, but
Because we all, like, at the end of the day, everything that is metal, everything that is rock, everything that is in between, all the subgenres, all that shit, all eventually leads back to rock and roll.
that could be argued a little bit, because while you're not wrong in saying that, the lineages can be, as far as who belongs where, can be argued, and that starts to change things, because rock and roll is a subset of blues, of
Yeah.
course. If you set like the rock and roll of the time next to Black Sabbath, there's a fundamental musical difference in what they're doing.
I don't know all that, man.
And
I just
that's why
say
I'm saying it.
stuff.
That's why I'm saying it. If you listen, there are riffs and beats and song structure in Black Sabbath that are the seeds of what would eventually become what we know as modern metal. And there is a fundamental difference between that and what was considered rock and roll at the time. It ended up getting kind of conglomerated as things went on, because even the rock and roll bands, like you said, they got faster, more aggressive, louder, more distorted, and the lines between the two blurred. But you set the Beatles in 1972 next to Black Sabbath in 1972, fundamentally different musical decisions being made. And what Black Sabbath did was purposely scare people. That was the thing. Rock and roll was made to dance, have a good time, to turn up the energy in a crowd. Black Sabbath said, we want to make music that frightens human beings. And that was what started metal.
Is metal the original horrorcore?
Yes.
Oh, confrontational take.
Because when Sabbath Bloody Sabbath came out, they purposely used the Devil's Triad. That down, down, down. That group of notes was literally illegal. Like, not in modern history, but you're talking about going back hundreds of years.
Back when people were playing harps and shit.
People would literally be put to death for putting together notes that were dissonant in that way, in a string. It was considered evil. That is the sound of evil. And Black Sabbath said, we're going to use it in like our first big hit, like the first album we make.
Our first radio single is going to be The Devil's Triad.
We're going to make evil music. And people legitimately were scared shitless of that band.
Dude, people used to be scared of crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like, there was nationwide protests on the Exorcist movie.
Yeah. Bro, Denny introduced me to the coolest thing.
Dick.
So how, he didn't introduce me, but like he definitely led me down a rabbit hole of new stuff with him. But no, it was super, because you know how like, you know, me and Fix were working on Foretold Fiction.
A thing or two.
And then
Yeah.
how he's doing Dread Exhibitus,
Which is basically a fictional podcast.
yeah.
Yeah.
He introduced me to a dude.
I'm being attacked by my hair.
I didn't realize that there was a guy back in the 20s or 30s who did that on the radio. And it was so cool because it was like, he sent me a link to it and I looked it up and listened to it. And I could literally hear in what he was doing, the lineage. Like, no, this was the beginning of us creating these fictional podcasts. Like, this was like the grandfather of what we're doing now.
It's like listening to Meshuggah, or not Meshuggah, but who's that super influential band from in the 90s we always talk about? It's not Meshuggah.
Yeah, the one that sounded
the one that
like,
was doing like post-hardcore breakdowns in the 95.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is Meshuggah.
Yeah. But no, it was cool because he did a radio broadcast where he had taken like this recording of an orchestra doing a performance, and had like parts where he would cut that out and go to the special news bulletin where
I don't know why, but in my mind I thought you were going to say special needs bulletin. I'm sorry.
That's hilarious.
That's just where my brains look at, bro.
Yeah, it was like the radio station was made to sound like they were trying to do a broadcast of like this New York orchestra or whatever. And it kept getting interrupted by these fake studio recordings that they had done. And it was telling the story over like this hour-long segment of a live broadcast of an alien invasion.
Oh, I heard about that. No, wasn't it when they were reading the War of the Worlds on the radio?
No.
Or is this before that?
I don't know if this is before or after.
Because I can't remember when it was, but there was a period of time where some radio host was just reading the War of Worlds book
Yeah.
The one they made that Tom Cruise movie about and stuff?
This is not that.
Okay. So you know what I'm talking about, though.
But I don't know about that.
Okay, well, finish what you're saying, and I'll tell you about the World of Worlds thing.
But yeah, this dude, like I said, he produced these, and it was like the sounds of reporters out in the field talking about, like, there's a big hole in the ground. The army is here. They're creating a barrier around the hole. There appears to be an octopus-like creature at the bottom of the hole. Like, that kind of shit. Like, it sounded like 30s fucking news broadcast on this radio station, and people were losing their fucking minds.
Yeah, I genuinely think we're talking about the same story. We just have different details. Because I was under the impression...
This was not a reading out of a book.
Okay, I was under the impression that this exact same thing... They might be two things that happen simultaneously, like, that both happen that are just different incidences. But I think it was sometime in the 70s, supposedly there was a...
This is way before the 70s.
There was a... like a radio broadcaster that was broadcasting him reading the War of the Worlds book. And people were tuning into it, not realizing that he was reading out of a book, and that he thought he was just talking about aliens have attacked and they're attacking and this is what's going on, you know, because how books are, they just describe stuff. And that's kind of what reporters do.
Yeah.
So people lost their fucking minds thinking that aliens were actually invading. So I don't know, because those, like, what I'm talking about might be an urban legend based on what you're talking about, or those might just be two things.
This is a recording you can listen to.
Okay, I will.
It's an actual radio broadcast.
I will at some point find what I'm talking about, or lack thereof.
I will hit up Denny and ask him what the name of that recording is.
Do that and then just send it to me. I'll look it up.
Because dude, it's honestly, it's fascinating to listen to, because they did such a good job especially for the technology of the time. Because like I said, I don't remember if this was 20s, 30s, 40s, but definitely like in the early half of 19th century, or 20th century, whatever. And it, like, the way they flawlessly cut together these studio recordings in this live broadcast to make it sound like it's actually going on, like they're actually interrupting the broadcast and shit. It was so well done, dude. And the story writing was fantastic. But yeah, people were like doing what they do now and rushing to the store to buy fucking, like, stock up on shit and boarding up their homes and fucking going nuts, dude.
I just realized I get to close this episode for the first time ever.
I got to open it for the first time ever, so it's only fair.
All right. Takeaways. What's your favorite part of my costume?
Of the one you're wearing,
yes,
or the costume of you?
No, the one I'm wearing. And then the
honestly, dude, it's the rings and the tats. I love the look.
It's fucking great.
It's why I wear it. But like,
it's a great look.
Seeing it third person, it's like, dude, that is a good look. I like it. I like it.
More faith or whatever.
What's
your favorite part of the costume you're wearing?
The chain. I like the chain.
It just feels cool, don't it?
It is. It's a nice one.
It's a good one, bro. One of these days, you're gonna see me come in here with just a real thick, real gold motherfucking Cuban, and just know I spent $500 at least on that bitch.
Same questions.
My favorite part of your costume, it's got to be the shirt, man, because that looks like something I would wear, and also like pre-fat, that's how it would fit me. You know what I mean? Like, before I got fat, like, obviously I'm not as big as you are, but I'm like relatively big for my size. Like, that's how it would look like 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, if you will, if I wore that exact same shirt. So it's just kind of like, dude, that's like so spot on. And it's also like the cap is perfect because, like, honest to God, my favorite part of your costume is the way you stood when we took the picture we showed them earlier.
Yeah.
Like, that's my favorite part of the costume. Just like my favorite part of this costume is this right here. It's my favorite part, dude. I just figured you would really appreciate.
You.
I just figured you'd really appreciate, you know, the lengths I went through in order to find this wig.
I debated on buying a bald cap, and I was like, no, because I want to wear a hat.
You really don't need to. If you just wear the cap, you're good.
Literally, I feel like you do this more often than you don't. I don't know. I guess I haven't
It
really.
depends on the time of year. I used to do that all the time. Like there was a time where like my immunity, I won't say immunity, but like my tolerance for heat was a lot higher and I would wear hoodies and fucking hats all year round. And then I got older and I was like, comfort is far more important to me now than it used to be. So it's mostly dad hats in the fucking summer and then beanies in the winter. But ultimately, dude, I gotta say,
We killed this.
we did so
We
good.
killed this.
And I don't care how good this episode is because this has been one of the most fun episodes I've ever done.
Also, this was good conversation.
This
too,
was
so-
fucking fun, dude. We need to do quirkier shit like this more often. Like, legitimate. I love that we have the same tattoo artist now.
Yeah.
Oh. It just overall, this is a good time. So, we're at... What? We're at an hour 12. I've run out of things to talk about. I'm sure you have too. It's 9:30.
I'm probably autistic.
I figured.
Anyway, we're going to close this one out. You've been great. We've been great. Y'all fucking suck and we hate you, but we do this anyway. For us, we don't care about you. We never once gave a shit about you. And as long as you know that,
Preach.
we're cool. We're cool. But we've been great. Dylan, you got anything to add?
Nah, man, I'm good.
Well, then if you don't mind.
As always. This was so much fun. Oh my God.